What's up guys, Americana back here with another video. Bitcoin's volatility just hit an all-time low, but this is where the biggest moves always come in. Low volatility, tight Bollinger Bands, and super thin order books. Every single time we've seen this, it's led to a massive move in crypto, but we don't yet know if it's going to be up or down. So let's get into the video. All right, guys, I know I literally 5 seconds ago just said I don't know whether it's going to be up and down. I want to be brutally honest and clear. Obviously, with my ideas, I think it's going to be up. Just quick recap of what's happened: massive liquidations, coins falling through their floor. This happening while we still have coins at the low, while Bitcoin and Ethereum held its ranges. The size of the liquidations, the manner in which it happened, the leverage that was removed from the system, and then what we're going to talk about today here not only makes me bullish, but a move is coming very, very, very soon. Nobody knows when, and I can't say I can't tell you when. I wish I could, but statistically, these are the places where a move comes in. I need to maybe make myself smaller here for the first chart because I do want to be able to showcase implied volatility right there. But first chart we have here is Bitcoin with the implied volatility underneath. Implied volatility, I'll be honest, no clue how this volatility stuff is calculated. I'm assuming it's like the range of the previous 100 candles or certain amount of candles, or some sort of look back into the range differences in the candles, or whatever, right? It's some sort of mathematical formula. But always volatility, okay, doesn't mean price automatically goes up. Okay, volatility doesn't mean price automatically goes up. I want to be super clear. Okay, if we are in a bear market and volatility is bottoming out, it's likely that there's massive volatility coming, but we're in a bear market, so it means it's to the downside. And what do we get? Crazy volatility both directions and down. Same thing here, massive volatility down. Okay, volatility is at a low. What do we get? FTX. Now we're in a bull market. Volatility is at a low. What comes in? First little pump. Volatility is at a massive low. What do we get here? Dump and then pump. Okay, and then depending how you want to put this, I could have cheated and been like over here, but I did pick the lowest points. But again, even if we're talking liquidation here, this was in a liquidation event that we had implied volatility at its lowest, but it prefaced obviously a pump. And then now when we get like kind of more bull market, more similar to where we're at now, again, when implied volatility has gotten this low, okay, we've always seen it spike, and when it spikes, because we're in a bull market, spikes to the upside. But I really do want to focus on the fact that obviously it spiking to the upside is nice, and that's cool, and we want that to happen. But just the fact that, hey guys, volatility is coming. I know it's been kind of boring, if I'm being honest, boring and annoying. Every time you make a new high, it gets sold off. We just had insane liquidations in the market, hyper focused on the altcoin market. It's been annoying, but that volatility is on the way. So I thought this was a pretty neat chart, interesting chart to look at. You guys can all see clear as day. Whenever we've gotten to these levels, especially in a bull market, we've ended up pumping or seeing volatility. This one is strictly bullish. This one means volatility and bullish, in my opinion. This is Bitcoin's monthly chart with Bollinger Bands. Again, Bollinger Bands, one of those volatility kind of style things. I'm not entirely sure how it's calculated. When it expands, basically means that the volatility or the velocity of that move, or the volatile parts of that move, are slowing down, and or what am I trying to say? The not momentum even, but kind of in a way. When you see expansion in your Bollinger Bands, it means the volatility has played out. We'll just call it like that. We'll keep it kind of vague. When you see constricting, it means that volatility is boiling up. So do you guys see how I can kind of be vague with that first example? Because it does make sense when we talk about coiling, that sense of like coiling up and coming to a boil and then exploding, right? When we talk about volatility, makes sense to a lot of people, right? Even myself as I explain it. But again, I mentioned that it's bullish. This means volatility and bullish. Okay, what do we have here? This is 2014, or 2012, so it's going to look a little different. But the tightest that the Bollinger Bands were, what did it preface? Massive move. Okay, the tightest that the Bollinger Bands were in 2014, what did it preface? 2016, massive move. The tightest that the Bollinger Bands were, what did it preface? massive move, right? We had tight Bollinger Bands in here, somewhat in there, but really in here, and then where we're at now. I do want you guys to see this as well. It's almost even hard to show it, but the lower this metric is, means the tighter the Bollinger Bands are. I think that is the low right there. So 92.09 is the low, obviously much lower than anywhere we've seen previously. So all those examples I just showed you were even tighter than that at this current point. Okay, so I say that to talk about there's going to be volatility, implied volatility. We look at the Bollinger Bands, which shows us there's going to be volatility, and it's highly, highly, highly likely that it is super, super bullish, considering the other 3 times we've been as tight as we are. Again, we're a little bit lower now, even than that, but it's been bullish for the market. So kind of a super simple one, but applied to a higher time frame like a monthly chart and looking at entire cycles, giving us some confluence that, hey, we know volatility is coming. We have more confluence of that volatility, and a suggestion that even outside of the dynamics of the liquidation and sentiment and stuff like that, but just that this is going to be a bullish move. Other thing I wanted to point out when it comes to volatility, this is just Bitcoin's kind of current range that it's in. So up top we have 125, 126K, and then 106K down here. This is Kraken data, so it's going to be a little different everywhere, especially on that liquidation. But what do we have here? Okay, we have orders being taken out here. So who gets taken out here? People that shorted all the way in here and put stops here, right? They shorted and they had to buy back their shares, right? Buy back their shares at a loss. Well, or another shares, their coins at a loss. Well, what coins were they buying? Whose coins were they buying? Whale's coins that got filled down in here. They know they're going to have a bunch of shorts closing up here. They'll be able to dump a lot of Bitcoin, at least at first, without affecting the price too much. But the point is they cleared out the order books to the upside. And then what happened almost immediately, we had plenty of downside support in here. We even kind of tapped here for like an hour or 2 hours, and then just slammed right through the fair value gap, right through everything into this kind of lower range boundary. But what happens here is there's a bunch of stop losses placed right here. Okay, so all these orders again get taken out here, and now we're in a situation that all throughout here there's little to no orders. Not only has leverage been removed in the system, not only are we looking at all these volatility metrics like we've seen on the Bollinger Bands and implied volatility and stuff like that, but also even down to an order book level, we've had both sides completely wiped out, and we have almost no orders within here. So I say that to say price is going to move relatively freely. What does that mean? Freely can mean both ways. If we need to come down here and fill this out and reclaim before moving freely again to the upside, that is a possibility. But also, again, like I said, it moves freely. So if we're one day we close up here, retest here the next day, we may be out of the range on the third day. We're talking about volatile times. We're talking about thin order books. We're talking about no leverage. And we're talking about these metrics kind of building up and again coming to a boil. I just think with the liquidation happening, with order books being cleared, it's kind of like the what am I trying to say? The kind of the last straw, the last little piece of the puzzle. Having these Bollinger Bands have been tight for 2 months now. They've been the tightest they've been. I could be screaming about this for however long, but again, when we have other things like implied volatility and then the fact of the liquidations and order books, like I've mentioned, it's just a lot of confluence that something big is coming relatively soon. My gut feeling is bullish, but I think we need to kind of get ready. And I think that's not a bad place to wrap this bad boy up. Oh, it's been a long day. I worked like 13 hours so far, 14 hours maybe. But we're still grinding. We still got a live stream tonight. Don't know why I'm telling you this, but maybe ask me to do another one and I will. Hopefully you guys are pretty chill. Excited to hang out with you guys. But anyways, let me know what you guys think. Are you guys expecting volatility? You guys seeing similar things? Let me know if you have questions. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.